Las Cedras commune, located in the department of Santa Maria near the city of Córdoba in the province of the same name in Argentina. Ana Rosa Barrera, a 40-year-old woman who dreamed of becoming a grandmother, settled there. Family friends described Ana Rosa as a woman of courageous character and adventurous spirit, who, faced with the need to start life from scratch, resolutely went forward. According to some reports, she lived in a tent for 4 years. Although details of her reasons for doing so could not be found, Ana Rosa worked at the Secretariat for Children, Adolescents and Families in Córdoba and loved what she did. She also ran an upholstery workshop with her partner Marcelo Ferreiro, whom she met when she started sewing for a business he owned. By 2017, 46-year-old Ana Rosa and 51-year-old Marcelo had been living together for 10 years and practiced Reiki together, a complementary therapy characterized by the application of palms to restore physical, mental, and spiritual balance. However, things didn't go smoothly for the couple. They started having disagreements and couldn't find common ground. They each had 4 children from previous relationships. 2 of Ana Rosa's children lived in Salto province and the other 2 lived abroad, one in France and the other was about to become a father in Bolivia. As for the rest of Ana Rosa's relatives, her parents, brothers and sisters lived in Córdoba. The woman maintained a very good relationship with her co-workers, who had the opportunity to meet her and Marcelo on many occasions. He was known as a wallpaper maker and his workshop was near the house where they lived. People close to the couple considered him to be a jealous and controlling person, which apparently began to irritate Ana Rosa. On Sunday, May 28th, they went to visit relatives in the city of Villa Allende. During the trip, there was a heated argument between the couple that erupted because Marcelo started checking Ana Rosa's cell phone. The argument continued in their home, even into the early hours of Monday morning. Neighbors heard them yelling and insulting each other, then things calmed down, but not for long. Hours later, Marcelo reported to the police that his wife was missing. Although the media gave different versions of when the man filed the report, most of them agree that he came to the 18th police station on Tuesday, May 30th. Marcelo told police officers and repeated to the media that early Monday morning he woke up at 6 a.m., as he usually did. His wife was already gone. He clarified that Ana Rosa usually got up early to feed the dogs before leaving the house. Up to this point, everything indicated that it was a Monday like any other and he was going about his daily business. Residents of Los Cerdos and the province were shocked by the news of the disappearance of one of their residents and the grief-stricken husband's statement that the last time he saw Ana Rosa was when they went to bed on Sunday night and Monday night. According to some digital newspapers and TV stations, Marcelo realized that something strange had happened when he received a call from Ana Rosa's colleagues. They were perplexed because she did not show up for work since she was a person incapable of being absent without a valid reason. On the other hand, recalling the last few hours before filing the application, Marcelo explained that on Monday, he accidentally found Ana Rosa's white Chevrolet automobile. When he went to do some shopping at the drugstore, the car was abandoned on Rainier Avenue in front of a beauty salon in the Santa Isabel neighborhood, almost halfway between where they lived and her work. His wife's belongings and keys were in the car, only her cell phone was missing. The man claimed he had tried to call her, that he, her friends and children had left messages, but there was no response. Ana Rosa sent her last WhatsApp message at 22:40 on Sunday, May 28. People close to the case said it is not known what may have happened or whether she was the victim of a crime. Since filing the report, Marcelo has been in constant communication with police and has also made attempts to locate the woman on social media and through the media. In an interview with reporters, he said that Ana Rosa was going to go to the gym early on the day she went missing to swim and then make an appointment with a trauma surgeon. Marcelo stated that the most important thing to him was that she was home. When asked about how he found the car, he said that when he came out of the pharmacy on Monday afternoon, he saw the car in front of a beauty and massage parlor. Marcelo explained that Ana Rosa had a neck pain the day before, so he decided to inquire if she was at that salon. He also said that since he had the key to the car, he opened it and checked her belongings. According to the man, he initially thought that Ana Rosa had left because of an argument that took place early Monday morning, adding that according to his Reiki teacher, if she decided to leave, he should leave her alone. Prosecutor Alejandro Peralta Tainelo of Altagracia took over the case. The investigation began immediately. Initially, several hypotheses were put forward. On the one hand, there was the possibility that Ana Rosa was the victim of kidnapping or robbery, also considered the possibility of revenge. It was not excluded that she left voluntarily. As part of the investigation, Marcelo testified for more than 14 hours. On Wednesday, May 31st, he gradually began to fall into a series of contradictions that, in the eyes of the investigator, showed him less and less as the distraught husband of the missing woman and more as the prime suspect in her disappearance. Everything Marcelo was saying made no sense to the detectives. Moreover, his moods went through different stages that also alarmed the experienced forensic investigators. At first, he seemed euphoric, confident, and constantly giving interviews to the press. Then he began to extol his innocence, giving details that no one had asked about, and even tried to justify himself by talking about his relationship with Ana Rosa and her anger at him. Marcelo also began to say directly and without question that he could not have done anything wrong to his partner. The circumstances of the appearance of Ana Rosa's car at the scene where it was found and Marcelo's explanation of how he found it raised a number of doubts. According to witnesses living in the area where the car was found, it was left by a man in gray clothing, not a woman. As the hours passed, despair grew among Ana Rosa's loved ones, as despite intensive search efforts, there were no results. But while the search continued, investigative authorities continued to pursue the case. The prosecutor in charge of the case was convinced that Marcelo was hiding something and insisted that investigators dig deeper into the now suspect. On Friday, June 2nd, meeting with police officers again, Marcelo changed his attitude. He became calmer. But when detectives presented him with information from cell phone antennas showing his movements that didn't match his story, the man broke down and the truth came out. Marcelo confessed that he killed Ana Rosa and ran her down, then dismembered her to dispose of the remains. After confessing to such a brutal crime, the killer also revealed where he buried the dismembered body of the woman who had been his partner for the past decade. A few hours later, the police, supported by a canine unit, found the remains of Ana Rosa. At around 2:30 p.m., excavations were carried out, ending the search. Her dismembered body was in a hole. Marcelo had dug it himself on a dirt road located in the countryside, opposite the factory and separated by about 200 meters from Highway 5, which connects the provincial capital with the town of Altagracia. According to prosecutor Peralta Ateno, the place was well known to the perpetrator as he often visited it to perform some work related to his profession. Everything Marcelo had said on previous occasions, with the exception of mentioning the quarrel that took place early Monday morning, was a lie, step by step. For the family and friends of Ana Rosa, their worst nightmare came true. All the prayers and pleas that for days had been directed to her return, at that moment turned into requests for repose, comfort, and punishment of the perpetrator. Tears of uncertainty turned into tears of irreparable loss and into anger at the murderer who had been playing with the feelings of acquaintances and strangers for days and thought he could fool the authorities and escape justice. Those who knew him agreed that he was a jealous and manipulative man and kept Ana Rosa busy with his questions and demands. Marcelo's need for control became apparent. In the midst of the investigation, he hacked into the victim's social media account. Although pleased that he was only now able to crack the password, according to the profile compiled on him, it turned out that there were indeed all the woman's passwords even before he killed her. According to the reconstruction of events, the killer and his victim had been fighting all weekend before she was reported missing, and it was Marcel's unhealthy jealousy that unleashed all this hell. When in the midst of an argument, the man took a sledgehammer and struck her several times until she died. He then attempted to place the lifeless body in the car, but when that failed, he took a knife and began dismembering it. He then placed the remains in his vehicle and drove them to a location where they were discovered several days later. Following the guilty plea, a new search was conducted on Friday at the home where the defendant and Ana Rosa resided. Several tools were found as a result of the search, including cleavers and knives of various sizes. Marcelo was arrested and spent his first night in jail. He was charged with aggravated murder, murder of a woman, and gender-based violence, which carries a life sentence. Prosecutor Peralta Atena clarified that the statement of the accused when he took responsibility for the crime could not be considered a confession. Therefore, the record only recorded that he confessed to the crime while being interviewed as a witness, adding that the statement would be made in the coming days, when the necessary evidence to support the charges would be gathered. Among the documents to be used in the case are the final autopsy report, the forensic report of the vehicles and items collected during the searches, and the results of the luminol test conducted at various locations. The defendant's lawyer, Jose Luis Saca, said the same day that despite the confession, he would ask for his client's release. He argued that what the police said had no legal force and could only serve as an indication to the prosecutor for procedural jeopardy, but it would not be valid. In addition, the defense counsel stated that his client was not going to give any testimony. The examinations continued over the weekend, and on Monday, June 5th, the preliminary autopsy report was published. According to this report, the cause of death of Ana Rosa was severe head trauma. The defendant's lawyer stated that he was waiting for the secrecy to be lifted in order to review the evidence against his client, and that the most important for him were the psychiatric and psychological evaluations to know Marcel's emotional state, which would probably be one of the aspects raised by the defense. Then, on June 9th, it was learned that luminol tests had been conducted in the house where the victim and the defendant lived during the last few hours. These tests indicated the presence of a large amount of blood that had been washed into the patio. The medical examiners also learned new details after autopsying the remains, including cuts on the extremities that were inflicted by a person skilled with a knife. A cut measuring 18 centimeters by 7 centimeters deep was found on the victim's neck, which reached the cervical region. As a result of all these circumstances, the prosecutor's office brought Marcelo Fabio Barrera to trial on the charge of double aggravated murder because of the relationship with the victim and because of gender-based violence. After Ana Rosa's disappearance, her acquaintances provided information about her partner, and their relationship to both the media and the authorities. One of her friends, Viviana Lujan, said that Ana Rosa began to change her style and stopped wearing lace-up shoes to work. She also let her hair down and admitted to Viviana that she felt prettier and more of a woman. It was these changes, according to Viviana, that caused arguments with Marcelo. Other friends also claimed that Ana Rosa had been in a good mood lately and seemed happy. She revealed that she and Marcelo have been having difficulties, but they have been working on improving their relationship. Moreover, the couple took some short trips together. Marcelo's trial for the murder of Ana Rosa began almost 2 years after the crime. The prosecutor's office explained the seriousness of the charge in detail to the jury. According to the final autopsy results, Ana Rosa received a strong initial blunt force blow to the face, from which she lost consciousness. Then she received several blows to the head, resulting in the crushing of her skull. At the first hearing, the defendant chose to remain silent. Thereafter, the testimony of witnesses was heard. The first witness, Deborah Territorios, one of Ana Rosa's daughters, testified that ever since her mother met Marcelo, she had been gradually estranged from the children and other family members. The girl reported that they were the first to move from Salta with her father, followed by her older siblings. This geographic distance exacerbated the lack of communication with her mother. Deborah also noted that when they were alone with their mother, Ana Rosa was a loving and caring mother. However, as soon as Marcelo showed up, her mother would distance her from her. The girl even said that sometimes she had to leave her mother's house quickly because she knew Marcelo was coming soon. Another relative who testified was Ana Rosa's cousin, Roberto Enrique Reina, in whose house the couple's quarrel began on May 28, 2017. The man recounted what happened that day. According to him, the quarrel started because of a message that Marcelo found on Ana Rosa's cell phone. However, during his testimony, Roberto said that Marcelo's jealousy didn't seem like something out of the ordinary, which didn't help the charges much. The prosecutor in this indictment talks about the dominance of the accused over the victim, asymmetrical relationships, the objectification of the woman in front of third parties, and the context of gender violence. The case file mentions situations indicative of obsessive jealousy on the part of the accused. Thus, Marcelo signed up for the classes that Ana Rosa decided to attend, was on the same schedule as the woman, and had complete control over her. As anticipated from the beginning, after the arraignment, the defense strategy was based on changing the charge, questioning the actions in which their client told the police that he had committed the crime. It should be recalled that Marcelo was testifying as a witness at the time and the defense attorney was not present. If it is found that the police were already investigating the accused when he stated that he killed Ana Rosa, his confession may be invalidated. So could the other case files. However, according to the prosecutor, Marcel's statement when he took responsibility for the crime was evaluated based on Supreme Court jurisprudence and was admitted as evidence, even if he did not say it in the presence of a lawyer. On the second day of the hearing, testimony continued. Among them was the testimony of Fernando Valamia, the victim's girlfriend, who stated that the accused was a controlling person and that he had become very violent recently before the murder. Fernando, who was a co-worker of the victim, testified that when Ana Rosa began a relationship with Marcelo, she became distant and then reappeared with the intention of renewing the friendship. Fernando stated that the defendant sought to follow his partner in all her actions. In particular, she mentioned the Reiki classes he began taking after Ana Rosa did. The indictment also states that after beginning energy harmonization therapy, Ana Rosa told her friend that she felt good, that she had been able to repair her relationship with her mother, sister, and children, and that she planned to visit her son, who lived in Bolivia. However, as she began to feel these positive changes, Marcelo became increasingly aggressive, according to Fernanda. Ana Rosa once said that women have a chance of getting something if they have a great attitude, to which he vehemently replied that they are all idiots who end up dying in a ditch. According to Fernanda, the spouses had not been living in the same room lately. Ana Rosa slept on the top floor and Marcelo on the ground floor. On the second day of the hearing, Claudio Bustamante, the police officer who received Marcelo's statement on May 2, 2017, also testified. He assured the jury that it was a spontaneous act, as the man had cracked without pressure from the police officer during the interrogation. Marcelo was heard. He said that on Monday Ana Rosa had told him that he no longer satisfied her and that she was cheating on him. He admitted that this had made him angry and that he had hit her, although he did not remember with what. Marcelo later said that he fell asleep at the table. He then got up and went to bed. The man added that it was all like a dream, like something unreal. He assured that if he had been fully conscious, he would never have committed such an act. Then, with tears in his eyes, Marcelo apologized to the community, to Ana Rosa's family, and to his own relatives for what they had been through. Finally, on April 11th, the jury of the 11th Criminal Court found Marcelo Fabio Ferri guilty of the double aggravated murder of Ana Rosa Barrera. He was sentenced to life imprisonment with the possibility of parole after 35 years of imprisonment, only on condition that he shows good behavior. When the verdict was announced, the victim's relatives cried and started shouting at the convict, calling him a murderer. They cursed him and wished him to rot in prison. As he was quickly escorted out of the courtroom, in turn, the prosecutor handling the case said that the jury's decision was in line with the prosecution and prosecution's request. It was also proven that Marcelo Fabio Ferri acted in full consciousness and hatched a plan to kill Ana Rosa. Prosecutors argue that the desire to make it appear as if he was not in his right mind when he committed the crime was a strategy to avoid the maximum penalty. Friends, what do you think about this story? Write your opinion in the comments and subscribe to my YouTube channel.